Okay, I think we've got just about everybody joined. Good afternoon. My name is Nell Cordick, and I am a financial advisor with Bogart Wealth, and I appreciate all of you taking your time this afternoon to join us. Today's topic is going to be Social Security insights, and certainly there are a lot of questions around Social Security, and we hope that this time will be very informative for you. Wanted to just start by a couple of logistics. I do have the chat box open as well as the Q&A box open. And so as you might have questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to add those to either chat or Q&A. And I'll try my best to watch out for those and answer things as we go along. So look forward to talking with you throughout the presentation. So at Bogart Wealth, to really start off with, in terms of we are a registered investment advisor firm. We actually changed into an investment advisory firm in 2016. And what that really means is that we have a high fiduciary duty to always act in the best interest of our clients. And what does fiduciary really mean? It really means that at every stage, we're always holding our clients' interests first. We want to make sure that we have full disclosure. We want to always be very transparent in any of our conversations with our clients, and that at all times, the client is always first. At the present time, our firm actually has 21 employees. We actually have added one that's not even on the slide that just started in the current week. So we're excited that our firm is continuing to grow. We also have a tax team that we liaison with that is located in Houston. We have 3 locations, 2 in Houston and 1 in Northern Virginia. And really, our mission is to help clients achieve financial peace of mind by preserving and maximizing intergenerational wealth. And there are lots of ways that we hope to do this. And the way that we're focusing on today is really via education, because we hope that by educating you, that is helping you put yourself in a better financial position, which obviously will help as far as you transition your wealth to future generations. In addition, we certainly do work with our clients on lots of other categories, whether it be specific NUA analysis, overall retirement planning, tax strategies, Roth conversion strategies, utilizing cash flow planning, and ultimately thinking about estate planning and transferring assets to the next generation. Would like to mention that we certainly are available for one-on-one sessions, both with you as well as your children. In many cases, your children are to the age that they are probably starting on their financial life and would also appreciate the guidance. So we certainly do offer our services to both you and your children. This is part of a series of different seminars that we're doing that we call Retirement Readiness. It certainly covers things: retirement planning timeline, retirement income planning. The one we're doing today is Social Security planning strategies, tax planning, estate planning, NUA and post-retirement strategies, long-term care planning, Roth versus traditional 401ks and IRAs, and mega backdoor Roth conversions. As you think of other topics that you think would be interesting for us to create a seminar on, please let us know, because we are always looking for additional topics that we can add to our library. Anytime we are recording this particular session, as we do all of our seminars, and then we post them on our website. So at any time, you can go back and review the material, or if you happen to miss a topic that you think is interesting, we do have them posted on our website. So today's agenda, what we plan to cover is, first of all, a big question, and I think anybody that is not yet taking their Social Security, a common question is, will it even be there for me at whatever age I decide to take it? Secondly is, how much can I really expect to receive? Then logistically, when and how should I apply for Social Security? How can I maximize my benefits? What are the different strategies that I need to take into consideration? And then finally, will Social Security be enough to live on in retirement? And I think we all are probably on the assumption that that's probably an absolutely no. And it was never meant to be to cover your full retirement needs. However, it when it was put in place, and since then, it's been there as a supplement. So in terms of what we're really focusing on is, first, let's understand the background of Social Security and what the value of Social Security is. So first of all, if you receive a monthly benefit of about $2,000 today, and you live for 10 years, you're receiving a total of about $302,000. If you live for 20 years, you would be receiving a benefit total of about $666,000. And if you live for at least 30 years, you would be receiving total benefits of around $1.1 million. Now, we've assumed in this particular calculation a 2.7% annual cost of living adjustment, or a COLA. The COLAs have ranged anywhere from 1.5 to 3. Over the long period, 2.7 tends to be the average. But obviously, these are significant amounts of money. So it is something to definitely think about and be very conscious of your choices before you make the absolute choice. Because in many cases, once you've decided on one choice with Social Security, it can affect lots of other choices with either your spouse or young children, depending on the particular time frame that you take your Social Security. If your monthly benefit is $2,000 today, and with the annual cost of living adjustment at the 2.7%, in 10 years, that would be basically about $2,600. In 20 years, that's going to be about $3,400. And in 30 years, it's going to be about $4,400. So obviously, having the cost of living increase is significant, because that does help as we go through different inflationary times. It at least helps to keep your money working and moving up, and not a stagnant fixed amount that you would receive. So basically, when we're thinking about Social Security, there are lots of different people who have access to Social Security benefits. First and foremost, it's the retiree. So anyone 62 years of age or older. It is the spouse of a person that is eligible for Social Security, potentially the children of someone that's eligible for Social Security. We would be talking about survivor benefits. We'd be talking about disability benefits, as well as a death benefit. So we'll go through each of these in the presentation. So the first question is, will Social Security really be there for me? And it's certainly been a concern of mine for a number of years. And in fact, when we're doing planning, we even reduce for someone that's very, very young. We will actually reduce what the expected benefit is, just to be on the safe side. And it really comes down to, when we talk about the Social Security and disability trust funds, that basically the balances as of 12/31/19 was $2.897 trillion. The income coming into the trust fund was about $1.059 billion. The expenditures were about $1.053 billion. So technically we had an increase of $6 billion. And that might look pretty good in and of itself. However, a couple of things is, we're having more and more retirees that are the baby boomers are really escalating in terms of their retirements and taking Social Security. So this number, as far as the expenditures, will continue to escalate, probably at a much higher pace than the income. So as a result of that, what you see is that this is the graph that kind of gives you an indication of when these particular funds will be depleted. And the expectation is somewhere in the 2035 range is when it would be depleted accordingly. At the present time, there are really two trust funds. There's one that's focused on Social Security, and there's one that's focused on disability income. So the Social Security one is the one that I would say is in much dire straits than the disability one. We've already gotten to the point where the income has exceeded, the cost have exceeded the income except the interest. This year, it is expected that the cost will exceed total income, and that the Social Security Trust Fund, unless reforms are made, would be depleted by 2034. The disability component actually lasts out a little bit longer and is expected to be depleted in 2065. And these are in the event that reforms are not made. So basically, if nothing happened, without reform, you would expect benefits to fall basically 83% in 2035 and possibly drop further than that as time goes on. Now, the reality is that they will probably do some type of reform, and that's what we have seen in the past. But if they didn't do some type of reform, that is what the expectation in terms of what your benefit probably would have to be adjusted to in 2035. However, in the past, they have done different reforms, and we actually expect them to do reforms going forward as well. So some of the different components that have occurred is the maximum earnings subject to Social Security tax have been increased over time. We've introduced index cost of living adjustments. We've increased payroll taxes from 6% to 7.65%. The full retirement age was raised, and this was done at a time when people were actually quite young, and that's what, conceivably they could do again. We've added new workers to the system, federal employees hired after 1983, all members of Congress, federal judges, et cetera, and made Social Security benefits partially taxable. So these are some of the reforms that have occurred in the past. Going forward, these are some of the things that are being discussed in Congress. First is increasing the maximum earnings subject to Social Security tax. Now, right now, it was $137,700 in 2020. It's $142,800 in 2021. But if they made this cap basically cover all income and make all income subject to Social Security, that could resolve 76% of the funding gap immediately. So obviously, it's certainly a tax on higher income wage earners. However, it could absolutely cover a big portion of the funding gap. That is being discussed. Second component is they're discussing raising the normal retirement age again, or the full retirement age again. And so basically, we'll see if they actually do it. Right now, they're proposing making it be 69 for those born in 2008 or later. And if they did that, that would certainly resolve 39% of the funding gap. Next one that they're proposing is actually lowering the benefits for future retirees. So in terms of, kind of bringing in some components of pricing in there, we think that's probably one of the least possible ones that they would do. We don't think that's realistic. I think that the raising the normal retirement age definitely has some legs. Possibly increasing even if they didn't increase it all the way, increasing the earnings could possibly occur. And then also reducing cost of living adjustments for all retirees is being discussed very strongly. And so that would eliminate basically about 21%. And what in reality they may decide to do is do something as far as a portion of each one of these, or come together with some type of a package that encompasses other ideas as well. But we do think there will be some type of reform before 2035 when the program is due to start running out of money. So the bottom line for baby boomers is we do not think that your benefits will likely be affected by Social Security reform at all. It is always a touchy issue anytime you're fooling with Social Security benefits, it's a very touchy issue for people that are very close to taking the benefits. And politicians know that. They know that it's a strong voting bloc. And so they're very careful with messing with benefits of people that are basically either already taking the benefits or on the verge of taking benefits. And so we don't think that for baby boomers that the reforms, we think it will affect younger workers at this particular stage and that will have the bigger impact. So the second question is then how much can I expect to receive? How is the actual calculation done on my Social Security? So there are really three components. The first is how much you've earned over your working career. The second one is the year you were born. And the third is the age at which you apply for your benefits. So when you think about right now, if you're under 62 and you've gone onto the Social Security site and you've gotten your estimate for what your Social Security will be, before age 62, it is simply an estimate. At age 62, what they then do is they will tally up each year's earnings and they index it for some type of a median wage inflation. They use the highest 35 years of your earnings and they're averaged into an average income monthly amount. They then basically kind of divide it into 3 bin points and they determine your primary insurance amount. And I'll show you those bin points in just a second. This is the amount that you would receive at your full retirement age. If you take your benefit earlier, then that benefit amount is going to go down. If you start your benefit later, then that benefit would go up. And then basically at this point in time, the benefits are increased each year by a COLA, and it's based upon the Consumer Price Inflation Index. And I got a question, is the benefit used of 2000 pre-Medicare premium? Yes, it's so when I go back to the slide, I guess we were, I'm not sure which one we were looking at. Well, it would have been at the very beginning. We're saying 2000. Yes, we're all of the numbers that are in this slide presentation are all pre-Medicare premiums. And as you know, in terms of the Medicare, your Medicare premiums are tied to what your income is on your your adjusted gross income on your tax returns 2 years prior. So that can always adjust from year to year to year, depending on what your actual income is, will determine what your Medicare. So everything that we're talking about are pre-Medicare. Thank you. So this slide is really reflecting how much does Social Security really replace of your salary. So if the salary level is very low, then your Social Security is going to replace a bigger portion of it. So salary level is at $11,952. A person could expect 90% of their benefit to be covered via Social Security. As your income increases, your portion of Social Security replacing the income becomes lower and lower. So when the salary was $142,800, you can expect only 27% to be replaced by Social Security. And obviously, as the salary increases to a greater amount, then it covers only about 15%. In reality, I would say that the majority of the population are somewhere between the 15 and 30% as far as what Social Security will replace for your income. So this is an example of exactly how the formula and those bins that we were talking about are calculated. So the first thing that happens is we are assuming that the average monthly is $10,296. And we're also assuming that this is a person that's 62 and that they've had basically maximum Social Security earnings every year since they turned 22. So the first tranche is the first $960. They get 90% of that benefit. The next $4,825, they get 32% of that benefit. And then the remainder, they get 15% of that benefit. So if this particular person would get a PIA, or the actual benefit amount at full retirement age of $3,138. If you decide, excuse me, let me explain full retirement age. So full retirement age is based upon the year that you were born. If you were born between 43 and 54, your full retirement age is 66. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. And if you were born in those subsequent years, it's going to be somewhere between 66 and 67 is your full retirement age. And basically, if you retire early, you would get a smaller percent of your full benefit. If you retire later, you're going to get a larger amount. And so if your full retirement age is 66, this chart just shows by retiring at 62, you're only going to get 75% of your benefit. If your full retirement age is 67, at 62, you'd only get 70%. So this is a chart that just kind of explains the incremental reductions to your full benefit that you may get. Now, if you decide to delay your benefit, then basically you're going to earn an extra 8% per year that you delay it. So if your full retirement age is 66 and you delay to 70, you're going to get 132% of your benefit. If your full retirement age is 67 and you delay to 70, you're going to get 124% of your benefit. There's no additional amount after age 70, so there's absolutely no reason to delay your Social Security past age 70, because that is the maximum benefit that you can receive. Now, how do you estimate your Social Security benefits? I would say probably is the first one is really going into the Social Security site, signing up under My Statement. If you've never done this, they do ask for personal information. And so you do want to be, it is a safe portal, but it is the only way to get your Social Security statement at this particular time. And so you can also just go on to socialsecurity.gov and do estimate your retirement benefits. And you're going to actually input some additional information. And then they do have a series of calculators, but to sign on to get your own data is really the place to get the most specific data. So I do have a couple of questions. Let me just run through those. How far in advance of full retirement age do you need to apply for benefits? So basically, Social Security will say that you can apply for benefits as early as 4 months in advance of your full retirement age. It's kind of interesting right now. They are somewhat delayed, and you can do it online, and then they call you back to actually schedule an actual appointment for a case manager to go over the benefits with you specifically. But from what we're hearing is even that's somewhat delayed because of COVID right now. If you want to go directly into a Social Security office, you do have to make an appointment. They will not allow walk-ins yet. And you can do that via online as well. But typically what you do is you apply online for the benefits. They will then they'll usually call you and let you know that they've received your application and it's in process. You can go back onto the site periodically and get an update. Most of the time, I'll be honest, it says still in process. And then they are supposed to then have the case manager call you and go over all of the information before they actually start the process of giving you the benefits. And that's where they actually schedule an appointment and go through all of the numbers with you specifically and just make sure that, yes, you're on board and ready to go with it. But that's pretty typical of what the process is. So if you take another job after you retire and it's at a lower salary, is your Social Security payout lowered by the new lowered income by the time you decide? It takes into account, yes, it does take into account, but they do take the highest 35 years of your income. So depending on where your income was at your current job and how many years you had it at the high income, and then you take into account the lower income, how that all averages out. They do take the highest 35 years of the income stream. So it's going to go into the average. I don't know that it will skew it tremendously, but it could be taken into consideration. If it's lower than your current job, but not the lowest, it would probably fall into the average. Does Bogart Canno provide assistance with the online Social Security application? I would say in terms of how I have worked with clients directly is I've actually helped clients call into Social Security and talk through with a person online on the phone with different choices. Now, I don't know that I've specifically gone online and helped click through. I'd be more than happy to certainly look at that, but I have been on the line with the client and with Social Security, talking through the different options. In one case, it was a situation where we were trying to make sure that we were determining the optimal time for both the higher wage earner and the spouse to take their benefits, because there are definitely some strategies in that regard. And so it was very beneficial to talk about all of those choices and make sure that there was no chance that we were messing up any type of benefit by one taking it earlier than the other. So I have done that, and we're certainly available to assist with that as well. So the question is, will they 100% talk to you about your benefits before they start payments? I don't know that I could say that's 100% guarantee. I think they're supposed to. In this time of COVID, it kind of scares me a little bit that they may process it through and not have that conversation. The expectation, and when we called in and talked with the agent specifically did say that, she gave the direction to the client: apply online, we will call you, make an appointment, and talk through the benefits. But it does scare me in this world that would they really 100% do it? I don't know, but that is what they verbally said they would do. So, but it is, that is a scary thing to know, because I don't know if they would or not. So then the second component is understanding spousal benefits. So basically, a spouse can receive half of the primary worker's PIA if it is started at full retirement age. So the example is that John's PIA is $2,000, Jane's PIA is $800, but if Jane applies at her full retirement age, her benefit would be $1,000. So she gets up to 50% of the higher PIA as long as she's at full retirement age. So the rules for the spousal benefits. First of all, the primary worker must have filed for benefits. The spouse must be at least 62 for a reduced benefit, or at full retirement age themselves for the full benefit, and no delayed credits on spousal benefits after full retirement age. So there's no benefit in terms of that. There's also potential benefits for children. In this day and time, there are people that are receiving Social Security benefits and they have minor children. And so in those particular cases, the child may be also able to qualify to receive benefits on your record. The child can be biological, adopted, or a stepchild, and a dependent grandchild may also qualify. So it's a question mark. To receive benefits, the child must be unmarried, under 18, or they can be 18 to 19 if they're a full-time student, no higher than grade 12. And if they can be 18 or older if they are disabled from a disability that started before they were age 22. And the benefits paid for your child will not decrease your retirement benefit. However, there are some limitations related to what's called the family max benefit. And so that means you take into account your benefit and any of the applicable children, and there is a percentage that there is a family max. But if you do have minor children, it's definitely worth having the conversation with Social Security to see exactly what they will qualify for and what the benefit would be. Same-sex couples are recognized for Social Security benefits in all 50 states. So there's no restrictions, there's no there's no issues with same-sex couples whatsoever in terms of Social Security. Divorced spouse benefits. So basically, a divorced spouse really receives the same as the spousal benefits if the marriage lasted 10 years or longer, if the person receiving the divorced spouse benefit is currently unmarried, the ex-spouse is at least age 62, and if the divorce was more than 2 years ago, the ex-spouse does not need to file for benefits. So that's kind of what the rules are there. In terms of the divorced spouse benefits, more than one ex-spouse can receive the benefits on the same worker's records. The benefits paid to one ex-spouse do not affect the benefits paid to the worker, the current spouse, or other ex-spouses. So there's no negative impact if it gets paid out to an ex-spouse. And a divorced spouse benefit stops upon the remarriage of the spouse collecting the benefits, but not upon the remarriage of the primary worker spouse. Now, looking at survivor benefits. Now, the survivor benefit becomes a little bit more complicated because it first of all depends on the age at which the deceased spouse originally claimed his or her benefit or the original benefit. If they claimed before their full retirement age, the survivor benefit will be limited to the higher of the deceased spouse benefit, or 82.5% of his PIA. If he claimed after the full retirement, his full retirement age, the survivor benefit will include delayed credits. And I'll give you some examples of these in a second. And then it also depends on the age at which the living spouse claims the survivor benefit or the actual benefit. If the surviving spouse claims before their full retirement age, then the survivor benefit will be a fraction of the original benefit. For instance, it would be 71.5% of the PIA if claimed at age 60. If they claim at full retirement age or later, the survivor benefit will equal 100% of the original benefit. So I'll show you a couple of examples. So the first example is both spouses are over their full retirement age. Joe's benefit is $2,000, Julie's is $1,200. Joe passes away, and so basically Julie will receive the higher of the two benefits. She will receive the $2,000 a month benefit. The next example is they're both married. Joe's PIA is $2,000. He filed for Social Security at 62, so his benefit was 75% of his PIA, so his benefit was $1,500. Joe passes away, and so Julie has two choices. If Julie claims her survivor benefit at 66 or later, her full retirement age, her benefit would be 82.5% of Joe's full retirement age PIA, or $1,650. If she claims her survivor benefit at age 60, her benefit would be 71.5% of $2,000, or $1,430. So it does change a little bit when the person has taken their Social Security at an earlier age. Now, if they take it at a delayed age, so they're both married, Joe's PIA is $2,000. He files for Social Security at age 70. So his benefit is 132% of $2,000, or $2,640. He passes away. Julie's survivor benefit will be equal to Joe's benefit of $2,640. If she claims the survivor benefit at age 60, then it's 71.5% of the 2006 40, not the PIA. And if she claims the survivor benefit at her full retirement age or later, she gets the full benefit of the 2640. So that kind of is a little bit of just considerations to be thinking about when you are when you're making those decisions on when you take Social Security or when a spouse takes Social Security. So basically, the rules for survivor benefits is first is the couple has to have been married at least 9 months before the date of death. Survivors must be at least 60 for reduced benefits, 50 if they're disabled, full retirement age if they want to get the full benefit. Survivor benefits not available if the living spouse remarries before age 60, unless that marriage ends, and a divorced spouse survivor benefit available if the marriage lasted at least 10 years. So just some considerations to be thinking about there. So then your question is, when do I actually apply for the benefits? And it really makes a decision. You have to take into consideration quite a number of things. To take into consideration your own health status, what you think your life expectancy will be, and that you kind of look at again, health status, your own longevity in your family, et cetera. What is your need for income? Where are your other sources? And so if you think about the taxability of Social Security versus other income as far as being taxed, whether or not you plan to work, and then thinking about survivor needs as well. So we take all of those things into consideration. So first of all, why would you delay your benefits? And in terms of, if you delay your benefits, you are receiving you're going to receive a higher amount by delaying your benefits. So you get a higher check to start. So that's, one consideration to certainly be looking at as far as starting out with the number before the COLA start, then that number will increase exponentially over time. Now, in terms of, it also thinks about not only is it a higher starting amount today, but if you have very long longevity and you live to be much older than your normal life expectancy, then it does be considerable income later on as well. So in this particular example, it's showing a person at age 100, their PIA was 2742. They started at age 70, so their benefit is 9,961 at 100. If they had started at 62 at age 100, their benefit's only 5,660. So that's just, the power of compounding, and that is quite significant. What is the break-even age for delay of benefits for a single individual? So basically, if your claiming age is between 62 versus 66, your break-even age is typically 77 to 78. If it's between 62 and 70, your break-even age is 80 or 81. And if it's 66 versus 70, your break-even age is 82 or 83. So if you plan on living longer than these ages, and good probability that you may, then it's probably to take very serious consideration in delaying your benefits. So key points that you want to remember is, if you apply early, your benefit will start lower, and basically it stays lower for life. The COLAs will magnify the impact of early or delayed claiming. So obviously, the longer you live, the more beneficial it is to delay your benefits. And then certainly the decision impacts your survivor benefits. And so for an example, if you're the higher wage earner and you delay your benefit until age 70 and you pass away, then your spouse he waits until they're at full retirement age, they get the higher of the two benefits, then that is also going to be in their better interest as well, because it will elongate that time frame through the rest of their life from that higher benefit. Single versus joint life expectancy. So a couple who are both age 65, there is a 50% chance that both will be alive at age 85. There's a 50% chance that one will live to 92, 25% chance that one will live to 96, and a 10% chance that one will live to basically almost 100. Now, how do I maximize my benefits? What are my choices and what do I need to think about? So the first thing you want to do is you do want to check your Social Security statement when you actually go on and get your own Social Security statement, and make sure that the data is accurate. Make sure that you're not missing income from certain years. And going back to the question that someone asked earlier is, can you improve it by working longer? Is certainly an important factor as well. So what are the averages? And if you decided to work for more years, would it help your overall Social Security situation if that was something that you wanted to address? So when you're thinking of Social Security, you're thinking of your income needs now and in the future, your life expectancy, and your spouse's life expectancy. All of those are considerations to take into account. The one thing to really be careful about is if you apply for Social Security before your full retirement age and you decide to continue working, the taxability of your benefit goes up quite a bit. So basically, for every $1 in benefits, that it's basically taxed for every $2 you earn over $18,960. So it can have a much heavier effect on truly what you're taking home. So do take extra precaution if you think you're going to work between 62 and your full retirement age. It's probably not in your best interest to start your Social Security until your full retirement age or beyond. And then basically, if you're at full retirement age or beyond, this earnings test does not have an effect. So it's only the working years between 62 and your full retirement age. So some other strategies to look at full retirement age, the higher earning spouse applies for their benefit and then asks that it be suspended. So the lower earning spouse can file for the spousal benefit, and then the higher earning spouse comes back and claims their benefit at age 70. So I'll give you an example. Both are 66, so they're full retirement age. Bob's PIA is $2,000, Barbara's is $800. Bob wants to delay his benefit to age 70, and Barbara wants to file for the spousal benefit now. So basically, Bob files and suspends at 66. This entitles Barbara to her spousal benefit while Bob's benefit continues to earn delayed credits. So they're both at full retirement age. So it's a way to go ahead and claim the benefit for one spouse, and the other one gets the delayed credit. So, and the file and suspend, just to keep in mind, cannot be done before full retirement age. So at full retirement age, higher earning spouse applies for their benefits, asks for DB suspended. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, go to the next. So this particular example is they're both 66. Mary will file for her benefit, and at the same time, Mike will file for the spousal benefit to get half of Mary's PIA. And then at age 70, he switches to the maximum benefit of his own. And so that's another strategy to take into account. However, keep in mind, both spouses cannot be filing for the spouse benefit. Only one spouse can actually file for the spousal benefit. So thinking about Social Security taxation is when you're thinking about the limits of what the taxation is going to be for Social Security, depends on your AGI. So basically, if your AGI, if you're married filing jointly and your AGI is under 32,000, then you're not taxed federally on your Social Security. If it's between 32 and 44, you're taxed up to 50%. And if it's over 44, you're taxed at 85%. And so it certainly gives you, some ranges. Again, playing with exactly where your AGI comes out to be determines exactly what your taxability is for your Social Security. So basically, reducing other income with tax-advantaged investments. Municipal bonds don't count because they get added back in. You need to anticipate your IRA RMDs, which may put you in a higher tax bracket. So that's important to take consideration into as far as that occurs at 72. Look at converting traditional IRAs to Roth to reduce your RMDs. Delay Social Security basically is one thought in terms of what you're utilizing. And then continue to manage your taxes throughout retirement is important. So you want to coordinate your Social Security with your overall retirement income plan. And so when you think about the Social Security, they can estimate your individual benefits. They can tell you the amount you're entitled to now, but they can't project future benefits through scenario planning, and they cannot help with innovative strategies. They will kind of tell you what it is today. If you decide to take it, this is what you're going to get, but they're really not allowed to project out for the future. So will Social Security be enough to live on in retirement? And I think we all realize that it probably will not be, that we do need to consider Social Security in relation to any pension income that is coming in, other IRAs and 401ks, required minimum distributions that are going to occur at age 72, the income from your investment portfolio, income from additional work that you may do. So just it's part of that whole picture, but it's important to be aware of that accordingly. And so in terms of this is where we certainly offer the guidance in doing quite a number of different types of reviews for you. We certainly look at what is the optimal time for you to take Social Security. We do a complete analysis and we take it back into a net present value of total benefits based upon your life expectancy. We also can work it into your plan along with your other types of assets. So where optimally does it fit in? And things, in terms of what types of other strategies do we need to look at? So we certainly do recommend that you do a consultation and certainly use Social Security as well to get the actual data directly from them. So with that, I do want to thank everyone for attending the session today. We hope you found it useful, and we certainly are available to do additional one-on-one specifics with your situation in particular, and really try to model it out on, for your situation, what is the optimal time to take Social Security, as well as the optimal strategies. So I thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.